and welcome to the Marvel Rivals Review, a podcast where four men in their 30s talk all things Marvel Rivals, from the news to the balance and all the inevitable drama that comes with being an online community. I am Conrad Guther, and I'm joined always by my co-host, Dahita Work,
Hey.
Florida Man MD,
Yo, let's get it.
and Vance Helsing Gaming.
Hello. Thank you for saving the best for last. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So we do have to concede. A couple weeks ago, we had a poll about who the funniest host was, and we thought it was going to be Lulz, and I was sure I was going to win that, but I did not. And Vance won by one vote. Vance won by
Let's
one
go.
vote.
He snuck it from me at the very end. What the
Yeah.
hell?
He wasn't even on the episode where we had it, so I don't know. I don't know if I trust the judgment of our viewers. I'm going to be real with you.
Wow.
To be fair, deserved. He does all of the edits, which make everything like 50 times funnier. So,
Yeah.
All right. Before we get started about the amazing and awesome season 2 news, how have your guys' last couple weeks been?
I'll start off, I guess. It's been L's, a lot of L's coming in hot. Yeah. But I'm having fun. Started playing Loki, just because I was tired of being Dove, and yeah, he's cool, man. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Little tricky boy, little slippery guy.
Little slippery snake.
as a fellow Loki enjoyer, I approve.
Florida man.
Oh, okay, Florida's going.
Vance.
Nope, Florida's got it.
No, Vance, go. You're talking
Okay,
right now.
All right, fine. So we did the weekend community event thing last week. That was the last time I played. I haven't had a lot of time to work. My father-in-law is in town. He's in my house right now. Pray for me. But other than that, it's just a lot of being a father and a family man. So
Yeah.
Oh no.
but
Busy.
on the plus side, our guild in World of Warcraft is about to kill Gallywix, at which point I will stop playing World of Warcraft for the next season and play more Marvel Rivals.
Wait,
Nice.
heroic or normal?
Heroic.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
If you're not ahead of the curve, you're not part of our friend group anymore.
Exactly.
I don't play WoW, but that sounds really impressive. So I assume it's a really big deal.
This raid tier, it's not that impressive, I promise you. This raid is not as hard as the last few.
You know, people say that, but in like World of Warcraft, like getting ahead of the curve doesn't really happen for most players. So like clearing heroic at all means you're maybe not like a top tier World of Warcraft player, but you're a good World of Warcraft player, you know.
Kind of like being GM in Rivals.
Yeah, right. Like you're better than 9 out of 10 people, but you know you're still ass, really.
Yeah.
All right. Florida man.
I have had a great last 2 weeks out of game. I have not really done that much in Marvel Rivals lately, not because I haven't wanted to, but because I've just been doing other stuff, like most of y'all. I mean, to be fair, also I tend to, like most probably casual gamers, play a little bit less at the end of the season. Number one, because I've done most of the things I want to do for the season, and number two, because like I don't know about y'all, but the match quality at the end of the season, at least for both competitive play and quick play, is absolutely heinous. Like actual government agents.
Oh,
You're
speaking to someone who knows,
right? So I usually for most games that are competitive, I do not touch the competitive mode at the end of the last like week or two of the season. Because you have a lot more people tilt queuing trying to like hard hit the like their next like highest rank or whatever, and it just ends up being it just ends up being miserable. I did play a couple days ago just to get the twerking Venom emote because that's a must.
Oh, I forgot about the twerking Venom emote.
Yeah, don't forget,
Oh,
you still got time. Yeah, there's still time. Wait, actually, is it over now? I think it might be over as of
No,
recording.
I think it might. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know I
think
have
the
it.
event is over because my friend said that he had like a day left to get it like a day and a half ago, so it might be over now.
Imagine not getting that emote. What if it never comes back? And I hope it doesn't, because 4 years from now, people are going to be jealous that you have that. That's
no,
what I
Steve,
want.
I'm a believer in like let everyone have it if they want to. Like I like the exclusives, but like I don't know, man. After a period of time, like after a year, like let people have it like after a window of time or something. You know, let everyone lord it over people for a year, and then open it up. But
wait, what did you have to do to get it?
You just finished the Galacta event. Yeah, the whole thing.
Oh, okay. I think I'm good. Where
You
loop
still have to
around
claim.
the-
Yeah,
you
you
gotta
still
go
have
in
to
and claim
claim
it.
it though. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's been good. I've been playing, doing a lot of stuff with my D&D group, and so there's been that. But that's been like my gaming activity lately. Not as much Marvel Rivals, but very soon that will change for reasons that we will talk about, I'm sure.
I'm sure. I have also been taking a break from Marvel Rivals, mostly for mental health, because there for a while I was losing it more than
You were
normal.
losing it last night.
Yeah.
We literally played.
Well,
Lost his
I'm
mind.
just saying, support players, dude. But, like,
As a support player, I resent that, sir. Thank you.
don't worry, I resent it too, and myself. But I've been taking a break. I've been playing a lot of Marvel Snap again. That got me back in because they've been doing some really cool cards, and they're about to do their huge economy update, which I'm pretty excited about. I also played a lot of Freya when she had her test weekend in Overwatch 2. That was a lot of fun. I might go back when she comes out to see how high I can climb on her.
Neat.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I've just been relaxing. I have not been streaming as much. But yeah. I'm super excited for season 2 though. So how about we hop into the news?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're probably going to be really news heavy this episode, so we're not going to do a lot of the the funny segments that we do normally. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about.
It is a lot to get through.
A lot to get through. So first thing that happened on Friday or Thursday, the season 2 trailer dropped. What did we feel about that initial season 2 trailer?
I know what I felt.
I felt a blood rush somewhere.
PG
Oh
or
boy.
PG-13.
You didn't
PG-13.
even let me finish. You didn't even let me finish.
All the heteros gooning over Emma Frost.
I let my heart coming out of my chest. Oh, Emma Frost.
Emma Frost. No.
Your chest. Right.
Yeah, Ultron is what's getting my Jimmy Soul Russell.
Ultron is yeah. That's what's doing it.
Hot too, I mean, you could get it.
And did anything stand out to you guys in that trailer besides Emma Frost?
No.
Nope. I was too focused on one thing.
No, those skins.
I did see a little, honestly, all of the skins went so hard. I love formal skins, like formal wear on like the characters in hero shooter games. Like when Overwatch dropped their formal attired skins, I was like, oh man, they're all so good. And like the same thing so far in Rivals. Like I love Sue Storm's wedding dress skin. I am going to probably spend way too much money on the like formal wear skins that we saw in the trailer. Like the Captain America one looks really good. I love the look of the Cap one.
For sure.
Yeah, so and then the Cloak and Dagger one, I don't play that hero, but I guarantee you that skin is gonna farm money because like
that's the final tier on the battle pass.
Is it actually? There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so that'll for sure farm people to get the battle pass. Yeah, I that's what I noticed the most. There was a really cool like Easter egg, or not Easter egg, but like lore teaser in there. I saw like a TikTok reel about this of like it was Loki and Doctor Doom in the background chatting with each other. I'm like, what are they plotting? What are they plotting?
That's true. Yeah, that's actually what I want to talk about. Florida Man stole it there, but yeah, Doctor Doom 2099 specifically. It was Doctor Doom 2099 talking with Loki in the background. So why is he at? Well, he did say at the end of the last season and that like last little lore section, it's like I got a gala to attend, so he was invited. But why? Why was he there? I think we have to do like a lore episode where we just
at some point
like go through all the lore that has been like dumped. But that's a lot of like read this, go through every character and like
Well, I think he clearly let Ultron in.
Yeah,
it has to be that.
So, just happened to invite Dr. Doom and Ultron shows up. Coincidence?
Right.
It looks like a Doom, quacks like a Doom.
It's probably a Doom.
All right. That leads us into that trailer did show that the next characters in the game are going to be Emma Frost and Ultron.
Yes.
I want to know what class I want to know what class Ultron's going to be. People are like strategist, duelist, not sure. Like possibly Vanguard, but less likely, I think. But
without going into the leaks are out there. You can Google that if you want to. That has kind of been a known thing for a while, but we won't talk about it here.
But
it is known.
Please. I like to be naive in that way.
so I think I'm more excited for Ultron just because, like, if you think about it, he's gonna be like the first big bad that you can play besides like Hela, because like it's been like almost all good guys besides like Loki and like Hela, right?
Yeah.
I
don't know. Can you call
an anti-hero?
Yeah, can you call the Punisher a hero? Like, I mean,
he's my hero.
Anti-hero, same thing. Yeah. There's like a lot of like gray heroes, and then like not that many actual villains so far. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff is the villain.
Yeah,
well, it depends on who you ask.
and the people that play him, the villains.
And Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man's the true menace of Marvel Rivals.
I feel more and more for J. Jonah Jameson every time I log into Quick Play right now. I swear, it's like, oh, he's a mess.
Maybe he was right.
It was a disgrace. Yeah, he was right all along.
He was right all along, dude. So, right after the season 2 trailer, like they just kept releasing the news on like last Friday. They did the dev talk for season 2 and they dropped a lot in that dev talk. So let's work through it. We're gonna skip the Emma Frost coming as Tank because we're definitely gonna talk about her in full detail because she looks fun as hell. But I want to think one of the first, and this is what I think was the most impressive is because unlike another studio that develops a hero shooter, these guys very much at the beginning acknowledged the community pressure for like certain changes in the game. So I thought like hands down to them, like they acknowledged it and they didn't just like
ignore it
to the back and ignore it,
screaming into the void.
Yeah.
Now, I can't say I agree with all the changes we're going to talk about, but I can say I appreciate that it feels like I'm having a conversation with someone. Instead of, you know what I mean?
I definitely think the devs of this game have been kind of killing it with the, in the communication departments so far. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So after that, they talked about this, and it's shortly, so we don't have exactly what the details on this yet, but they talked about they promised new game modes because they were talking about what their vision for Marvel Rivals was and whether it's not like it should be more a competitive game or a game where you feel the superheroes and where they've landed. They've talked about like the promise of new game modes that they're going to slowly release as, their testing becomes further along. So that's cool. No idea what that means, but they did talk like a little bit like, and this is just me paraphrasing, that they want to keep like fun and the hero identity and the feeling that you can play whatever you want at the top of their priority list. Does that sound about right, or am I completely misparaphrasing that?
No, I think that's about right.
Yeah. And I think the craziest thing they revealed in that whole dev talk was what they talked about next, which is that from season 3, they are going to go to a 2-month season rotation with one hero released every month.
That is insane. There's no way they're going to be able to keep pace with that.
12 heroes a year.
I don't know. I think they actually might be able to, because the nice thing about about Marvel, like the characters already exist, and so so it gives them like a lot to go off of compared to like again, I hate to keep bringing up the Overwatch comparison, but like to their credit, Overwatch design team has a lot harder of a job ahead of them when it comes to making new heroes, because they have concept art and then making all of the things that the hero can do up out of thin air, and then like also making sure that it fits into like the existing game. And so it's a lot more steps that it goes in. Like everyone loves to say, oh, Marvel's going so much faster than Overwatch. Yeah, well, no crap. Like they have to like make it all up out of their butts. Like Marvel at least has the characters like that have existed for decades, and so not to downplay the work that the Rivals team has done. It's been incredible and will probably continue to do so. But like I do think it's possible. I agree. Maybe they won't do it for the entire duration of the game, especially as like more and more heroes get added. But in the initial phase, they might actually be able to keep that pace up. We'll see.
And another thing is too, like with Marvel having all these characters already exist, they have already described their game as a multiverse game, so they can get away with like making, if they want to add a new a hero that was already like a hero and make it a villain hero and change some things that way and write their own kind of story with it. So they've given themselves a lot of wiggle room by making it multiversal.
Yeah.
Peter, what do you think about the release schedule?
Yeah, I am very excited for it. I know they're just like, I can just imagine them having like a giant fishbowl just full of Marvel characters, just picking them out. It's like, you know what?
Just draw a name out of a hat.
That's a lot of learning to be doing, and I think it's going to affect the metas quite a bit. We're going to see a lot of flip-floppy. It's never going to be. It's going to turn into like what you're good at is what you're good at, and be good at that, and do good at that, and you'll do it.
Yep.
I think my concern with like a release schedule as fast as that, like once every month, is while I'm exciting for it, I am worried about the uniqueness in character kits before things start feeling copy and pasted.
Right?
But like, but that's a worry. That's a worry that's a little bit unfounded right now, and I guess I have to give them a chance. But me being the eternal pessimist that I am,
yeah. I was just gonna say, I think it's a very founded worry. For me personally, I think that like it is a very founded worry, and I don't think it'll actually end up mattering though, because like for me personally, I feel like we already have that problem with as few heroes as they have in the game now. I mean, like when you really think about it, like not every, but like most of the support ultimates are big like AoE heal buttons, and most of the DPS ultimates, with like some exceptions of like the ones that just do like insta kill burst damage ones, most of them are like big ball of damage thing, in this AoE. And so like, I definitely see that being like a concern. At the same time, we kind of already have that, so like maybe it won't actually matter, So,
yeah, true. And that's definitely one of the things that caused me to step back from the game a little bit in the last month. It's just like you said, it's like the supports that are interesting to me aren't used as much at my ranking because for the average player and the average skill, big AoE immortality field is the best thing you can do, right? So
this is where you just make another alt account so you can play whatever support you want to play. You're just gonna have a collection of Conrads. You're gonna have your own Ultron army at this point.
Yeah, I just feel like the supports, and this is not hating on support players. Like I like the support too. It's like I just think the characters themselves are hard to carry on. I'll give you that, but easy to get the minimum value you need to win. Baseline value. Easy to get baseline value, hard to carry. So that just leads to supports playing in a very boring style where it's just heal bot, and you just don't have these big moments that other characters have, but at the same time you make the game incredibly frustrating for everybody else with your immortality buttons and your just ridiculous healing numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe so. I have a little bit of a different take on that as someone who plays like almost exclusively Sue Storm for the last half season. Like I feel like, maybe it's just unique to her, but I feel like her kit is very interesting in the sense that like I do feel like a lot of my things that I do like will lead to kills and carry a team fight. I think the big difference as a support player is that a lot of it is like not obvious. Like I've had multiple matches where I end up being like the MVP, and like it's hard for people to really see everything that I'm doing as a support player. And I think that's just because of the positioning. I'm in the back line most of the time, but then also like the way that Sue Storm works, like a lot of my stuff that I do is like boops and like forcing people into or out of certain positions. Like my favorite thing has become like tracking Dr. Strangeult and like yeeting him out of the sky, as he's like trying to fly in and ult my team. But like no one really sees that I did anything. They just see, the Strange whiffed their ultimate. And if they're not like, unless they're Celestial and like know that that's what I'm doing, like they're not going to really notice that that's the value that I'm providing. So there's it's very interesting though.
One thing I've noticed about Marvel Rival players, especially the ones that are newer to the genre, is that they don't look up. And I say this as someone who plays flying characters that'll be right next to them. And they're like, they don't look up, or, being in a spot where they should see me, but they don't look up.
Yep.
Because you got all them Call of Duty players that, are just so focused at looking at the X-axis. Or it's like we always made fun of one of our friends that plays Overwatch with us a lot. He's really good at tracking people, but the minute they go above his head, they just don't exist anymore. And he's like, well, they're not real anymore.
It's that object permanence, right? If it's not in front of their face, it does not exist.
It always reminds me of that Futurama quote, if anybody's familiar with that show, where the Wall Street guy from like the 90s like gets transported into the future, and he's like, all right, he's like, no one ever looked back. Looking back, like, because you're sharks. Sharks don't have necks. Necks are for sheep. It's like, are you a sheep? Like, so don't look back if you want to be a shark. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, Max. I mean, he's spitting. He's spitting. All right. But yeah, so yeah, that's all. Like, I don't know how we got so sidetracked because someone brought up supports and I lost my mind. Okay,
every time.
That's your trigger.
but
Emotional damage.
One character a month is crazy, and my only other concern with it is, as much as I'm excited to see that, okay, I have two big concerns. One, they made this promise, now they have to follow through. If they don't follow through, trust will forever be broken, right? And it's like, and how long can they do that? Like, I know because I read leaks that they're prepared for this because there's so many leaked characters in the game files and all that stuff that I know that they'll be good for a good while. But how long can they keep up that kind of production rate? Those are my concerns.
Yeah.
Well, they had all that time in between the beta and the launch, so hopefully they were hooking up in between then.
The next thing I want to talk about is the change to mission structure, where your chrono token acquisition, where they were saying, I guess, that there are some people that were having hard times finishing the battle pass because they don't play the game for 2 hours a day or whatever. Weird.
I
mean, play the game.
That's
right?
me.
But like, people not finishing the battle pass. So I want to be clear, they're not changing how many total tokens are available over the season, but they are changing how you get it by implementing weekly missions. So the challenge, it sounds like challenges are going to be worth less, and easier week missions are going to be implemented to increase the average chrono token gain. Does that sound right? I don't know.
That sounds pretty accurate. Yeah.
Pretty accurate. I don't know. I just kind of lost my train of thought halfway through saying that.
Dude,
I'm like, I hope I'm just not talking out my ass.
Struggling over there with your words.
It's the brain fog, dude. Upping those fucking anti-psychs, man. They fucking
stop making quacks, please.
It's a thing.
It's a thing, dude. That's all right. But yeah, easier week wishes by the week, which I think is a good thing because like I hate personally doing challenges. I hate these challenges that are like play Scarlet Witch, play Namor, play all these characters I don't want to play. I want to log in, pick the Human Torch, and feed my brains out. That's what I want to do, and I want to be able to achieve my missions by playing what I want.
Yeah, that's fair. I think playing devil's advocate a little bit, what I notice from watching my friends try and finish their challenges and myself finishing the challenges is that like I feel like a lot of people either don't know or just hoard that magical refresh button that lets you re-roll the challenges and like just never use them. Like burn those. You will get more, like a new one every day. And so like you can refresh those challenges to where like I don't think I've ever had to play a single specific hero that wasn't already in my hero pool. Like so you can very much like take advantage of that and re-roll those. That being said, I think this is a W change. Like we'll have to see obviously how it actually looks in season 2, but if it's how it is on paper, I think it's good to have it be less tied to specific tasks and more to like general things that people get just from playtime. So good job once again. Yeah. Well done, devs, once again.
We'll see what the week missions look like. But yeah, I agree. Win. Did work? You were trying to say something?
No, I was not.
You weren't? Go ahead, say it. Say it, man.
I really wasn't.
No, go ahead. The floor is yours.
You hear this, people? This is what I go through.
He's very targeted.
He knows why.
Why? Please explain why.
Why?
Why? I don't need to. He knows.
I don't. I need to be enlightened.
Well, let's talk about the next thing on the list over here.
Weird.
Which is that they are going to implement for some of the more popular costumes, costume color changes.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just getting chromas.
Yeah. And a gift system. So personally, I feel costume colors changes are fine if they are incredibly cheap as compared to the base skin, or they're free if you buy the base skin and you have the opportunity to change colors. That's my opinion. I don't want to spend another $18 on a skin I already bought just to have a color change.
So. That's what League did. They have all these skins or whatever, and then they release the chroma packs with them, where you have to spend extra currency to get these extra colors, and it's the skin is fine. You don't need the extra color, but don't charge me $5 when I've already paid $35 for it. Like, come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which
also
I don't know if they said. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I was gonna also just move on to gifting, but if you're gonna talk about the skin colors, continue.
No, I was just gonna say quickly about the skin colors. We just, assuming that we don't actually have to pay anything extra for it. We don't actually know that yet. I don't think, right? Do we? So
they didn't say.
Yeah. Even if it's something minimal, like $1 or $2, I feel like that's totally fair. But if they try and go like 5, 7, upwards of that dollars, then it is kind of like, all right, man, come on. Yeah.
Not worth it. And that's what I think. It's super cheap, I'm fine with, or just like a nice free thing they do for us. That'd be amazing, dude. That would be so cool that people would be probably more likely to buy skins if they know there's a chance that it's like
I agree.
What's up? The ball's in your court, Marvel Rivals. Just saying. All right.
Vance, you started to talk about the gifting, though. What were you going to say?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's great. I mean, as somebody who does not necessarily have the ability to afford skins, I will gladly accept any gift skins from anybody. So this is a W for me and any other potentially poor player.
Oh.
That's it.
I will also accept skins from any of you.
Dude, yeah, it's like a really, really genius business move too, I feel like. So I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but there's a really cool couple of studies on gift giving. And the thing with you kind of imagine it from your personal experience, how often you get a gift and the other person eventually tells you what they paid for it, and you're like, oh, this is a really cool thing, but I wouldn't have paid that much money for it, Yeah. And so there's a lot of value to the customer that's lost in gift giving, but no one perceives that, because everyone's just happy that they gave a gift and got a gift, So it's but that probably will do a lot for Rivals, because it'll increase their sales, I'm sure. But then it also feels good for the player, even if monetarily it's not probably actually. And so I think it's good. Once again, good thing overall, actually genius. So
yeah, I concur. Anybody have anything else to say about skin gifting?
Send us skins.
Did you hear it work?
That's free stuff.
Yes. So they talked about comp a little bit too in their dev update. And one of the first things they said at the start of the new season, everybody drops 9 ranks.
That is a hefty drop.
They're fighting inflation.
It doesn't actually, unless they change the system. So boo. But we'll see. I mean, it could make some impact, but I'm not a fan of rank resets in general. It just without a placement system, I should say. If they had a placement system, I would care a lot less about rank reset. But I guess they're not resetting all the way to 0, so that makes it a little bit better. But I'm not a fan of rank resets. So I understand why it's necessary sometimes, but
I'm gonna provide a counterpoint to you, Florida Man. So with the rank resets, I think it is important because as far as I know, there's not a decay system. So if somebody had played in season 0.5, got all the way up to Celestial or whatever, and then doesn't touch the game until season 4 without having those resets, they're going to come in back at Celestial and they're just going to get absolutely blasted and throw their games and then never play the game again after that.
Yeah. I agree. I think that rank decay is also kind of important. And I know there's decay for eternity and up, but I think below that there's not rank decay. So I kind of agree. There should be a rank decay as well. I think like, I don't know. I would rather see them implement a rank decay than like a ranked reset system.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
I
agree with you. Yeah.
I think bronze is going to be a bloodbath after the reset. and this is why. It's because if you haven't made it up to at least diamond, then I think, or diamond or high plat, there isn't anywhere for you to go but the very bottom. So that just means bronze, silver, gold is all being squished back into the bottom of bronze.
Boy.
Yeah. How many tiers did they say? How many tiers did they say they were dropping people? Is it 4 tiers? I couldn't remember.
9 divisions.
Oh,
9 divisions. That's 3 whole ranks. You dropped 3 whole ranks.
Wow. Yeah, that is quite a drop. So everybody, what does that mean? Everybody in plat 3 drops to bronze 3, right? So that is essentially a full reset to 0. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I feel like 4 divisions or something would have been plenty. Or honestly, just reset top 500. Like just reset eternity and up. I feel like is probably plenty.
The rank reset does do more for the top players too, because you gotta think like the difference between low eternity and high eternity is whole other what we could conceive as ranks. So all those people are still, that whole rank is going to be collapsed and all sent back to, what is it, Diamond 1 or something like that. So they still, so the same thing that's happening to bronze for them, it's the same thing that's happening to bronze is happening for eternity players. It's like they're all being thrown back into the blender. And the only people that are staying with their actual groups are the people in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Hooray.
All us hard stuck GMs, like we're fine. Yeah.
I'm almost diamond. I'm plat 1.
Oh, yeah.
Not anymore.
I need to get there.
Rude.
So, with the rank stuff, Conrad, I'm sure this is probably on your list for the next things to talk about. The fact that they are moving the hero ban system to start at gold.
Yes.
That is
huge W. Huge W.
Huge W.
I'm very excited to be part of hero bans finally.
All you milkers out there who wants to get a character who's freaking popular right now and broken.
Yep.
It
stops now.
I am so curious to see what gets banned in like the lower elos too. Yeah, if it's
I know what's gonna get banned in the lower elos. It's gonna be Spider-Man. Yes, across the face. The Spider-Man banned everywhere.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well,
I would have guessed actually Scarlet Witch because you don't have to aim.
well, Spider-Man's annoying, I guess. But if you look at rivalsmeta.com, where that's all you can see, like the you can't trust everything from a third-party site, but you can trust trends, kind of. But there's the most banned character in Diamond and GM is Spider-Man right now, believe it or not.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I know what's going to be banned everywhere else because everybody thinks Spider-Man is OP, like we talked with Tubold a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I agree to an extent that Spider-Man is easy to get value out of. Like, hold up, don't everybody shoot me. I'm not saying he's the easiest character to play. He's the hardest character to play well all the time. But to get the baseline value where you have a Venom team up, you swing in and you eliminate a 250 or a flyer, that's easy. Because you just web them up and E them and then do the animation cancel that everybody knows at this point. And that value, even if you die there, that trade is value, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's easy to do. So the very baseline of Spider-Man
mains. Get him in the comments. Yeah. Get him in the comments, Spider-Man mains.
Now, good Spider-Man are a lot scarier than that because they can do things outside of that 30 seconds. But getting immense value for just getting 1 kill on a squishy every 30 seconds is huge. And it's easy. Right?
Yeah.
So
I would personally, having like potatoed on Spider-Man for those like couple clone games that existed, I would call Spider-Man simple but not easy. And I don't know. I see what you mean though. Like the combo itself, once you get the basics of it, is probably easy to execute. I just have not played Spider-Man and have no desire to put in the time required. So
I'm not saying Spider-Man's easy. You got to learn a lot of stuff to do Spider-Man, and he's hard to get value out of all the time. But the fly in, the swing in, zip someone or web someone and then zip to them, uppercut, and Venom explode, or even just the uppercut and overhead pound, that's easy. That's easy. It's really simple to get. That's the first thing you learn when you put like 2 hours in the Spider-Man, right? It's like, okay. But
I don't even use that one.
But
it will be interesting though. I am curious if like Spider-Man's banned at like a lot of the lower elos, but I feel like it would be. I wonder if people will have more like spite bans. Like they don't want to have a Spider-Man player on their team, so they ban Spider-Man. Not that they don't want to play against Spider-Man. They don't want to 0-15 gold Spider-Man to hard throw their games.
Spite bans happen. They've happened to me when I was one tricking Mr. Fantastic. Because I lost the game because remember I hit GM really early in the season and then I kind of just gave up on comp, right? And after I got up like closer to GM and Celestial, and I was like, I lost a couple more games. Like people would see me on their team going into the next one and try to ban my Mr. Fantastic so I couldn't play it. And I'm like, I'm a one trick, bro. If you ban my character and I'm on your team, you're asking for me to do worse than I would do on Mr. Fantastic. But spite bans happen. Yep.
Yeah, everybody in the comments, please, and everyone listening, please take note. Like, if you have a teammate that hovers a character and you ban that character, you are the problem. Please stop doing that. Like, it's also just like why? Don't do that to people, man. That's just rude.
Unless it's Wolverine, then you are absolutely free to ban that man.
Chop Wolverine to pieces.
Yeah.
Throw him in the garbage.
If you do though, like ban something someone's hovering, at least try and say in voice like, "Hey, do you play anything else?" Like, like if you want to ban someone's hero, like at least check with them. Like, are you actually a hard one trick and you can't play anything else? Like, what are we dealing with here? And most of the time in competitive now, people like anything probably diamond and above. I'd say a lot of people are in voice, believe it or not. And so, like, I don't know, say something, please. Don't
see something, say something.
Yeah, I guess so, but like just don't do that, man. I have trauma.
Apparently you were real adamant about that.
All right, so any other thoughts on bans in gold?
Nope.
I'm glad Dahita Work and Vance are finally going to be able to play with bans. I gotta say that.
Yeah,
I'm almost done. I am almost done.
You know what my grandpa always told me? Yeah. He said almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So.
I'm doing fine for not being able to play all the time. Doing good.
That being said, quick plug for another Discord and community thing. You can always play bans in custom games. So yeah, if you ever want to play with like the tournament system where you have ban protect, like come play custom games with us. And at some point when we have 12 or more people simultaneously, we will do that. And so that's having done it, it's really fun.
Yeah. Join the Discord in the link below.
Yes.
Not in the Twitch link below, but on the podcast links below.
Those listening after the fact, yeah.
All right. So they talked about next that in comp they're going to start a map rotation. So they're going to add Krakoa, which is a King of the Hill map, and they're going to take out Royal. I only wrote Royal. Yeah, I only wrote Royal in my notes. I'm like, I couldn't think of the second word. They're gonna take out that one.
Yeah, the payload map. Right?
Royal Palace is the map everybody hates. With the it's the King of the Hill because everybody hates that one map in the middle that that sucks because all the that sucks. You know the one. It's horrible.
I know it immediately. As an Invisible Woman player, it's like kind of difficult for my character. So yeah.
So that one's going out, and they're also taking out Shin Shibuya, which is the
fighter.
I can't. Yeah, but I can't remember if it's the Escort or the hybrid.
It's the hybrid.
Oh, is it
the hybrid?
That's the hybrid. Yep. The other one is Tokyo 2099 with the pagoda in the middle on second point and like the indoor area that you go up the hill on third point.
Yep.
That's Tokyo. Which I love Tokyo, so I'm glad that one's still in there. But
but
all are still in quick play.
all are still in quick play. I'm not a fan of this choice just because we really don't have a whole lot of maps yet. It's not Overwatch where there's like 40 maps that you could play in competitive, and maybe implementing a map pool over there would be thing. This is like we're at like 12, right? We don't have a lot of maps. I think it's a little early to implement a rotating map system, but.
You might be right. Yeah, I mean,
usually
there's what? Well, hang on now. Let's not get too excited here. I mean, there's what, 6 maps? I mean, yeah, it's more than 6. It's probably like closer to 8, 9. But it's still, yeah, I think it's way too early to start doing rotations. I mean, but the thing is, they're only doing the rotations for comp, right? Like, they're still going to all be available in quick play and custom games. So,
true.
I mean, I guess for comp, that's another thing that we don't think about too. By changing the map rotations, you change the meta for like what characters are going to be viable on certain maps. So maybe set rotations not so bad on the comp side of things, but as long as they're still available in quick play, it shouldn't be that big a deal, I don't think.
Yeah, and I agree with what you said there. I just think it's really too early in terms of like diversity to start implementing map pools. I'm all a fan for map pools because of the thing you said. You know, map pools will change the meta to a bit, and you know you'll get more practice on those maps, so the games will just be naturally more competitive as everybody has more experience on those maps. But I just think it's too early. That's too early. I already feel like, you know, I'll get the same map like 3 times in a row in comp, and we're literally, if you consider we're only adding 1 map but taking away 2, we're losing maps out of the total number, right?
Right.
So I don't know if I agree with that. But, you know, whatevs.
Yeah, I think there's 9 maps currently, if I remember correctly. I just tried to finger count them all off for myself. I'm not positive about that, but I counted 9. I could be missing 1. But yeah, so there will be then
2, but maybe there is 9.
Yeah, it feels like more because King of the Hill like has 3 maps in one sort of ish, but I just count all 3 of those as like 1 map.
Yep, you should.
Yeah. But it feels like more because of that, because you don't always necessarily get all 3 of the maps in each King of the Hill game, so it kind of feels like there's more than there are. But I agree, I kind of think it's too early as well. I would like to see them keep like just them all open until you get to like upwards of maybe like 15 or so.
Which should be pretty fast, right? Because they're gonna keep implementing maps every season too as the story progresses. So
right. I mean, you're still looking at what every season's 2 months, so like 3 years before we're at like 15 maps, probably.
Yeah, that's if they only introduce 1 a season. They might start. They actually didn't say how many they were doing. I imagine they're doing another one this season, and then it's probably gonna be 1 map every 2 months going forward. That's probably how it is.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, that's just what I think it probably is, but like maybe even less. It might be every other month. So
I think somewhere originally they said 1 map every full season. Somewhere they said that, but I don't know if that means 1 map, but maybe there's 2 like sub maps, like how the Dracula ones, you know, that we got 2. So but that was also because the first season was planned to be like a denser season with like 4 heroes and I think 2 maps. But I think they said somewhere in the dev blogs. I'll have to dig into it. But either way, yeah, they purposefully, I think, didn't announce how many, if there would be any changes there, so that they probably have some wiggle room, is my prediction. But yeah, it'll be a minute before we have more maps. I think. Yeah.
All right. Any more thoughts on map rotations? Dante.
Nope.
The heater work. His name's not Dante.
Yeah,
Who's Dante?
Who's Dante? All right.
You guys covered it.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
You look like you want to say something.
You got a weird vibe going on today.
He is gaslighting you today. I don't know what's happening.
Moving on. This man. Well, okay. All right. I'm going in. I'm mad. I'm mad at him. I'm mad.
Okay. Wow.
I'm mad at him because we're going tux shopping for his wedding here at the end of the month, and I had to hear it from his fiance.
I didn't know when. I didn't know when she made the time, basically, because I was like, I guess not setting a time. I could have set a time, but she was like, "Why didn't you just set a time?" I was like, "I don't have the money yet. When I get the money, I'll go." You know, like, boom, boom.
Actually, hang on a second. Wait a minute. Hang on. I also lived with you, and I was unaware that any of this was even happening. I didn't know you were getting married.
Well, now you know where you stand.
Wow.
Damn.
Oh, my heart.
Well, it's in Virginia, and
I'm sorry. I'm never going back to Virginia.
And they can only have like 25 people, so
I'm never going back.
So people who can make it. My family's in Virginia, so that's why.
All right.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I love
Moving on. Minimum. Wait, what did you just say?
Shout out Virginia.
But
Whoa!
But
The quack sounds. The quack sounds.
minimum level for comp raised from 10 to 15, which is pretty significant because it's a little bit more XP every level you get. So like they made it much longer to get into comp. So that's probably a good thing. You got more time to learn the game. It's more of an incentive for people to not level up Smurf accounts, I guess.
It's shame for you, I guess.
Yeah.
He's already got his accounts. He's fine.
You can't really be a Smurf if you're not good at the game, right? I'm
Wow.
I'm only a Smurf to like bronze, silver, and maybe gold players, and then people start like hitting shots.
Their object permanence goes up.
Just the same rank on 2 accounts. That's it.
And then my win rate goes down, like still positive, but significantly not like not winning 80% of my matches. Do we got anything to say about that? I mean, I think it's just a W. It's just a W.
That's a good choice.
Yep,
good choice.
Well done.
Yeah. All right. They also said that they're going to start increasing the weight of individual performance for the amount of comp points you gain and lose. I am not a fan of this personally.
Why?
Because I'm not a fan of it because I don't know how it works. Right? It's like, what stats are they going to base like your performance on, right? Is it going to be final blows? Is it going to be about the number of damage you do? Is it going to be about the amount of healing you do? Is it going to incentivize people to play for numbers and not effectively, right? Because if you can climb and manage your points by playing just like heal bot and not performing like key abilities at the right times, that's not a good thing, and people are going to be incentivized to like shoot tanks to get their damage number higher when they could be taking flanks and killing supports. It's just going to incentivize a numbers game instead of actually playing for the win. Because I don't know if anybody's ever told this to you, but your scoreboard is kind of meaningless, right? The numbers don't always tell the full story. Like, of course, a Black Widow isn't going to have the highest damage on the scoreboard, right? Just because I have max damage on Mr. Fantastic doesn't mean I did anything, because that's almost all just useless damage that doesn't end up in a final blow and realistically just feeds ult charge, right? Your stats don't fucking matter. So if this system is based on stats, it's going to further worsen this inflation problem we have in the rank system. So
well, I feel like they look at all aspects of it. I mean, they don't have to. They said performance. So overall, I'm assuming it's going to be overall performance. They're going to look into how you did compare to everybody else, like overall. And I know final blows probably has a lot to do with the DPS, but
I think what it's going to
from spawn camping.
I think what it's going to end up doing is it's going to take like the people that are in like bronze, silver, gold, or whatever that ranked up because they just queued into a lucky team that carried them through the win. And so like if they're 4 and 15 or whatever, but their team won, their performance is going to look worse. So because like I understand the what aspects of did you bring to the game, like what Conrad was saying, but at a certain point, like you can definitely tell when somebody is just throwing the game and has no idea what they're doing and does not belong at that rank. Like it's generally pretty obvious, and I think that's what this is supposed to do, is to prevent that bottom of the barrel somehow sneaking their way up there because they just got carried with their wins.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on this, but I'll keep it brief. I see both parts of it too. I think I put this one when I heard this. First of all, I was surprised because I think what's his name, Jiyoung. I'm probably butchering that, but the balance like dev head for Rivals, he kind of said like, as what poor performance is tied to like the how much you gain or lose each match, and I was like, did we know that? I don't remember ever like knowing that was a thing.
I've known it, and just like like sometimes I lose 20, sometimes I lose 15, sometimes I gain 30, sometimes I gain 15. It's like, okay, what's that? So I assumed that there was some performance base, but like
but we never really like I think had confirmation of like, that's what was happening behind the scenes. I for myself put this in the category of like we'll have to see. Like I can definitely see, to your point, Conrad, like I can see this being a big issue if like it incentivizing people to do the wrong things. Like playing the game for stats, like you said, is like the incorrect way to play, a hero shooter.
An objective based game.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but I wonder, it depends on how they do it. Did they include like time on objective? Did they include like, like do they measure it as like overall uptime by like, how long you're actually taking like effective actions per minute type of things? Like I don't know how they're measuring it or like what they're actually measuring. And so like what does it actually mean? So I don't know. I put it in the I don't know category. Like maybe they'll release more details about it like as things go on. I bet people will ask. And so if they take a page from Overwatch's book, they'll eventually release like way more information than people probably will want about, how they actually like go into things. And I think that'd be good actually. But for the time being, I'm like, we'll see. We'll see. I personally think it should just be like, do you win the game or do you lose the game? And like based on whatever rank you are, it should be a flat amount, like, mostly, gain or loss from that, with maybe some modifiers for like if you're on a streak to like get you into or out of like a rank quickly that you don't belong at,
I agree with streak modifiers,
yeah. But like that's I feel like for me personally, and I'm not a game designer, but like I feel like that's as complicated as it needs to be, because that'll self-select for like if someone doesn't belong at that rank, they will fall out of it because they'll be consistently the player that's like the imposter.
I think for the most part, it should be for most ranks, it should be you gain 25, you lose 20. That way, for every 4 wins you have, you get a free loss in there, right? But that should be the same for the high end of the ladder, because and it isn't. If you go and watch high ranked streamers, the best streamers in the world, the best players in the world, they maintain these like 65-70% win rates all the time, and everybody at that level does, and that's why they gain like 15 SR every time they win, and they lose like 30 every time they lose. Like they have to win way more than they are lose and maintain that kind of rank. But for most of us plebs, I think it should be closer to what I said, like pretty consistent, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. Any other thoughts? Okay. Alrighty. So I just want to talk about, they broke down the curve of rank distribution, which I find very interesting. And we'll talk about that. So 13.2% of the population is bronze, right?
Oh,
so that's pretty low. That's pretty low. Right. And this accounts for only people that have played 5 or more games of comp, right? Silver 1 is 17.9, or silver is 17.9. Gold is 20.6. Plat is 16.9. Diamond is 17.1. GM is 11.2. And Celestial is 2.8. And Eternity and One Above All is 0.3%. So
wow.
So a couple things I want to talk about. GM being 11%, that's about Diamond in Overwatch. So get over yourselves. You're average.
No, by definition. Hold on. I was just gonna say, like, don't think you're God's gift to Marvel Rivals if you're GM. At the same time, like, it's just a name change. So, like, being Diamond in most competitive games is also being very good at the game, like objectively. Like, are you like the best player ever? Absolutely not. Like, there's still 10% of the player base that's ahead of you. But like being the top like 90% of players is like still or like the top 10% of anything is like still pretty solid, So like pat yourself on the back, but don't like get a big head, kind of thing.
That's right.
You did.
Yeah, I'll beat anybody down. I swear to God. But there is a significant, like more exponential than any other rank from GM to Celestial. That is the most exponential, obviously, change in skill. So climbing into Celestial. With Celestial, I would compare as like the Masters and Overwatch, and then like everything else was a GM plus, right?
Yeah.
So you're good, but you're really good, but
Still
you're like minor leagues, like That's what I'm saying.
Minor league. Okay, once again, minor league players still get paid to do like the thing.
Yeah.
They still get paid to play their sport all day. So like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But you'll never be in the big league. You'll never be him.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool. I also like the way I think about it, right? We were just talking about like you're good at the game, but you're not that good if you play your GM. When I think Grandmaster, like the difference between like Grandmaster and Celestial, like Celestial is like, like a god, where a Grandmaster anything is still a mortal man. But then, Celestial, that's how I think of it. It's like you're good in terms of being a human, but there's like gods out there too,
I think that's actually like literally what the devs were probably going for with the naming convention. Like it kind of makes sense. So
yeah, I think people just get a big head in this game because GM in other games is like top daddy dog. Like there's nobody in your town better than you, kind of. Yeah. Oh, all right. Another thing I thought interesting is that the most people are in gold, which makes sense to me because you play for the skin and then you stop, right?
Yeah.
I'm average. Let's go.
Like 1/5 of people play till they get the skin and then they stop. Another thing I found really interesting is there's more people in diamond than there is in plat, and I don't know what to make of that information, except maybe people just wanted to see what bands were before they quit, and then they're like, hey, I give up here. But like,
I think I see people a lot of, because the game is so different with bands. I feel like I also got stuck at diamond for a little while when I was climbing, like when I first was getting more into the competitive mode. And like, I feel like it takes a little bit of time to adjust to like how to play around bans, how not to like completely troll your team with your bans. Don't ban your team's heroes. So yeah, there's lots of things to consider that you didn't have to up until that point. So that'll probably shift now that bans are going to be gold and above. But yeah, I definitely think that explains from my perspective a little bit of it anyway. So, yeah.
Anybody else?
I liked this. The fact that they showed this distribution, I really love. Like more transparency, I think, is always a good thing.
And I love it.
Yeah. I feel like it also, like I said, there's been like just like you've been mentioning, Conrad, there's been like all this talk about like, oh, like everyone's rank is inflated, and like that a lot of people hear that and they think like that means, oh, like I didn't actually accomplish something by like getting to like X, Y, or Z rank. No, like that's not true. Like look at the distribution. Like, you're still like whatever percentile of player. Like you can be proud of that without like thinking that you're like, God's gift to gaming. That's like those two things are not like, automatically tied together.
When I say inflated, I don't mean like you're bad at the game, even if I say that when I'm tilted. I don't mean anything I say when I'm tilted, by the way. I'm just coping in the moment. But I am saying there's a difference from someone who got to GM in 40 games and stopped playing there and is hanging out in GM versus someone that played 300 games to get to GM.
No,
right? That's the inflated thing. Is there's the people that got there very fast, and then there's the people that just got there. There's an obvious difference in skill right there. There's just a huge skill gap based on how much you played in these ranks. Because people that play more will end up in these ranks. And I'm not saying you didn't deserve that rank. You played the system for what it is, fair, by the rules, and you got there. What I'm saying there is that other people in that rank that just don't play as often but got there that fast, it's just going to be natural because you got there. There's just going to be these natural mismatches of skills that occur from just the rank system itself because it isn't a set amount of loss or gain based on winning or losing, right? Does that make sense?
Kind of, yeah. I would push back on it a little bit. I do think that ultimately, like within like a certain little bit of deviation, most people like truly do belong at the rank that they are, with the exception of like bot accounts, people that only like do OQ, shit like that, But I don't know. I feel like it gets really dicey. I feel like the system does kind of incentivize a little bit of like gaming as far as like if you play more, you're more likely to go up than down, and that is kind of a problem if we want to have some competitive integrity. But at the same time, again, like in general, like you will fall out of a rank that you truly don't belong in at all, And so are the ranks maybe a little bit inflated in the sense that like, it's probably possible to get GM with like, more negative win rate than you really should have? Yeah, probably. At the same time, you can't really look at like, oh, this person has a negative win rate and they're GM, what the heck? And think that like means the system is automatically flawed because, okay, maybe they have a negative win rate in their GM because they were Celestial and they started playing a new hero and didn't want to make an alt account, so they plummeted their win rate. You know, there's a lot of other things that could go into why someone has a certain win rate compared to just like, oh, this must be evidence that this person is like gaming the system. So I don't know. I would love to see like even a little bit more data of like number of matches played, you know, but until they release like that level of detail, I feel like we don't really know. So I give people the benefit of the doubt.
And I'm not saying there's no competitive integrity. I'm just saying that the lower the rank you go, there's less competitive integrity.
Oh yeah, because that's people have to start in bronze. That's again like that's more argument for placements. Like again,
and just based on the numbers of how much you gain and lose, the higher you go, the tighter that becomes, the more competitive integrity there is. Right? That's what I'm saying. And so like GM is just like I think the rank where this shows the potential problems. That's where it all starts to amalgamate the most.
But. Yeah. I think the other problem too, I was thinking about this the other day with GM after listening to like a couple of like higher level like streamers, content creators talk about the rank system issues. GM is also where like a lot of alt accounts for like really high level players end up because they don't want to sit in queue for like an hour, like if they're trying to solo queue. Because like the way that the system works right now is that, you know, in the really high levels of play, everyone stacks and the system will like, you know, find stacks games quicker than if it's the opposite of a lot of other games where like you're more likely to find a game if you're solo or duo queuing. Apparently the way it works in Rivals is that like you'll find a game quicker if you're stacking. And so, you know, people will talk about having like, you know, 1 or 2 1 hour queue times if they're trying to solo queue and one above all. But, you know, if they stack, they'll have like a 5-minute queue time or something. So it's a no-brainer. Everyone will stack. But then if you don't want to stack, or if you can't stack for whatever reason, then they have to make an alt account or sit in queue for an hour, you know? So I think that that'll probably be solved with one of the other changes I bet we'll get to, which is the, you know, solo and duo queuing only for one above all. So
and Eternity. So
there you go. Yeah.
Oh, yep. And that's exactly the reasons you pointed out, or exactly the reasons they're implementing this change, is because not only does stacking give you faster queue times, it also gives you a much better competitive advantage because communications in these games are important. So the poor solo queuers that get thrown into your groups are at immense disadvantage, right? So
yeah, and granted, that's a problem that affects like a 0.3% of the player base, but you know, it's still relevant to the rest of the player base because, like I said, those players, if they aren't happy, will make alt accounts and be in GM, and like will make the GM experience effing terrible. And so,
that's a fair point.
Yeah.
And that's not to say if we have actually any high-ranked players out there that your opinion shouldn't be heard. I personally am a firm believer that balance should be top-down. But like and stuff like this, it's very dicey because you are such a small percentage of the population, you know, just like a very, very small, like 0.3%, like 0.3% of the player population.
We know exactly how much of you there is.
Yeah. All right, so and we talked about stacking and Eternity. So let's talk about Emma Frost and break down her abilities and how cool she is. This is gonna be a long episode, sorry guys. Because we just got to the dev talk, we still got to go through patch notes. Dante, I see that look you're giving me. We started at 5, you'll be fine. But like,
I gotta cook dinner though, homie.
Well, we gotta finish.
It's about 2 hours, so we'll finish by 7.
Okay, so Emma Frost, let's start. Her Zuck, that's probably the part of her kit I hate the most, but like I watched some gameplay, it doesn't look too horrible. She has a Zuck that ramps, right? The longer you Zuck, it builds up charge, her halo forms, and she does more damage, right? That's her primary attack. She has a right click that's kind of like Sigma's from Overwatch, where she has a crystal shield. She throws forward. It has 500 health, I think. She can retract it, place it all over the place. Kind of like Sigma did. She has an ability that has to hit its target, but if it hits the target, it's a projectile, it pulls out their soul, right? And forms it into crystals. And you can shoot that crystal to inflict damage to the main body. And also, if they're close enough to that crystal, you can pierce the crystal to do double damage, right? So you have to walk away from the crystal. When the crystal explodes, go ahead.
Wait, so that ability is just like strange ult, like for one
character. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what? I haven't seen any of her abilities. This is my first time hearing about this. That's insane.
So once that crystal burst does, that does a little bit of burst damage too when you break the crystal to its target, right? But I
That's
think
so
they can separate.
interesting.
I think they can walk far enough away from the crystal that you're not doing like significant damage. I think there's a little bit like the further away you from the crystal, the less damage. So like if she hits you with it, I think you can run away, but I still think you're taking some damage. I'm not sure. It was hard to see in like terms of like the gameplay. But.
Oh, you're still mobile if she like crystals you. You're still mobile.
Yeah,
as
it
the
literally
enemy
just
player.
pulls out a solid chunk that's your soul, like a solid diamond that she can
okay.
shoot. So it's like just sitting there. She can shoot that instead of
Yeah.
having to aim at you, right?
Okay, so it's
And,
not
like,
like fully Strange Ult or something.
Yeah.
Can you headshot the crystal thing? Do you know?
No, she can't.
Okay.
She can't
That's
headshot at all because she has a Zuck.
Yeah, I wonder if like
Yeah.
allies can headshot the crystal thing though. If they can't, then I think that's kind of fine. That's actually really cool. I like that ability. Neat.
She has a shift that turns her into her diamond form, and she goes melee mode. Like, and she gets she's unstoppable, gets a slight movement change and some DR from going that way. And the diamond mode lasts for 6 seconds. She has two abilities when she's in diamond mode. One, she can grab you by the throat, which is technically a stun, so you can stop people out of their ults, and then like turn around and like slam them on the ground.
I can see the memes already.
Yeah,
I can see the memes already.
And then she has a kick that she can kick you pretty far. It's a pretty big boop. And she does enhanced melee damage, right? And you can pull someone's soul out with the crystal and then shift the diamond mode and punch the crystal and like KO a 250 squishy.
Just saying.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. Yeah.
But that's
interesting.
her ult. Her ult is my favorite part of the kit. Right?
Fire.
She does an AoE like cone in front of her, and it does continuous damage. It can be blocked by environment shields though, and it starts a charge. Well, also you can't use ultimates while under the effect of her ultimate. So that's the first thing it does is it stops other people from using ultimates. And if the ability reaches full charge on someone, it takes over their mind and forces them to walk towards Emma Frost.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, say that again. So if it's
if the ult hits someone long enough and there's a little meter that builds up on everybody hit by it, if that meter reaches out, they lose control of their body and they walk towards Emma Frost.
Ooh.
So you can make them walk off the edge and like taunt them.
Well, that's a really cool concept for her like mind control powers. Yeah.
And I think it's kind of needed, and like I think she's gonna be meta specifically because she can ult early off an angle and stop supports from using a game-changing ult, right?
Yeah.
So I think she's gonna be pretty good just because of that. So
yeah, she strikes me as like a character that's going to have like a lot of skill expression though, because that's like a lot of different like just the raw elements of her kit. No single ability really seems like that overtuned, but like it seems like there's lots of interesting small choices to make. Like I feel like we'll have to see how it goes in gameplay when the really good players get their hands on her. But I feel like that's a really interesting character that has like a lot of like potential.
Yeah,
I can already see.
What? One of you at a time, please.
They have some streamers playing her right now. I was watching people play her, doing some wonky stuff.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Vance. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh, it's nothing. Now that you've already mentioned that there's streamers playing it, I was just gonna say like I can already see people are gonna be pulling the soul, throw out the shield, shift to metal form, and just beat the crap out of the soul. And that way you can just get.
She's a diamond.
Whatever.
Oh,
she
gets
gets hard.
Question, actually,
and makes everything else hard.
Phrasing.
No, I meant what I said.
This is an interesting question, Conrad. Maybe you know. Does the shield work the same way as Sigma Shield in the sense that like it'll block healing that's coming from behind it as well? Do we know? Yeah. So it works just like a regular shield, so it'll block like projectiles coming at it. Okay, interesting.
So yeah. Also, like I said, Emma Frost's ult can be blocked by terrain and shields. So right. So there is a lot of skill expression. Her ult's incredibly strong, but there's a lot of skill expression in countering it too. So
is her shield like transparent like Sigma's that people can walk through it, or is it like solid like it'll push people that know?
It's just like plays just like Sigma Shield. It's literally Sigma Shield. Yeah.
Interesting. I love this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a fusion. It's like a fusion between like Ramatra and like Sigma that I really like. I mean, I don't think she's gonna be able to tank by herself. But actually, I think she's gonna be a great off tank.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
I see maybe like her Strange and like her or her Magneto. Oh well, her Magneto with the team up. I forgot that was a team up
yes,
too.
yes. Which we'll talk about in the patch notes.
Mhm.
All right. Anybody have any thoughts on Emma Frost before we jump to these patch notes?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. All right.
Mommy.
The chunking. All right. So Captain America
Mommy.
first up. Yep.
Sorry.
Captain America first up. His reduced health. His health is being reduced from 675 to 650, and his shield's health is being reduced from 400 to 350. That might sound like a nerf, but it's not because he's now a team up anchor. He's getting an extra 100 health, so he's actually 750 health, and he's got a 5% damage buff too from that. So
Yeah.
maybe Captain America meta. Maybe.
I would love Captain America meta actually, because I feel like he actually has like a lot of, you can't just stand there and shield bot with him. Like you gotta do things. I wish they had not taken away the Thor team up though. I'll just spoiler alert, they took away the Thor team up with Captain America. And I never got like the Thor Cap meta that I wanted as a Thor player. And so I would have loved to see that. But maybe in the
everybody
future.
wanted that at season 1.5, and then it just didn't pan out because Doctor Strange, Magneto, and Groot are just so much better than most of the tanks just because of their shields and walls.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's necessarily that they're better because I feel like in pro play you see a lot more like Groot Thing and shit like that. Oops, stuff like
that. Groot and Magneto and Doctor Strange all have like shields and put out a bunch of damage. Groot's probably the strongest tank right now because his ult charges super fast and he just pumps. He's a pumper. He be pumping the damage. Yep.
Yeah, and I think just people know what to do when there's a Magneto and Strange too. Like people, stand behind the shield and shoot. A lot of the time is how like a lot of people play, even in GM. And so, like, people don't know what to do as much if there's no shield in front of their face. So I think that's why they're perceived as better too, just because they're simple to understand. Yeah.
Yep. So Doctor Strange, they're decreasing the daggers that did knock damage, which is his primary fire, from 18 to 16, which is a pretty significant nerf to his damage, and they're reducing the Maelstrom of Madness conversion ratio of dark magic the damage from 1.3 to 1.2. So he has significantly reduced damage. That being said, because he's now the new team up anchor of another team up with the Scarlet Witch, he also gets an extra 100 health. So like he's tankier, does less damage in this patch, right?
I don't remember if that changes his breakpoint or not. Someone that's a smarter Strange player than me will have to calculate that. But it's like I think he'll do like 120 max damage now with the Maelstrom of Madness at 100 charge, right? And then then plus if you hit all of the daggers, like all of his primary fire melee, and then full charge Maelstrom, is that enough to kill a 250? I think
you have to I think you have to do two primaries, a whip and
two primaries now, maybe. Okay, which
two primaries, a whip and Maelstrom. Yeah, okay. That's what I think.
Yeah. I have to calculate it. I don't know if it's enough. I forget how many daggers are in each of his primary fires. I think it's 6. I don't remember. So, chat, quick, do the math.
Heater work. How do you feel about the nerf to Doctor Strange? I know you play him a lot.
Yeah, I'm a sad boy. But hopefully, hopefully it's not too bad now that he has like a little more health. But you probably won't see Strange holding the game hostage now.
I think. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, no, yeah, well, really, that's it. He's gonna take, especially with Emma coming too. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Doctor Strange is like the Swiss Army knife of tanks. He's just the one that everybody has in their back pocket that they can pull out and know they can get good value out of.
Yeah.
So he's just seen a lot, and I think this is a good change to bring out some of the tanks that just haven't been seen as often.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. The Hulk, they're increasing his base movement speed from 600 to 650. It's the boy running. They're reducing the cooldown time for Indestructible Guard from 12 seconds to 10 seconds and decreasing the minimum charge time for Incredible Leap from 0.7 seconds to 0.5 seconds. So he's all over the place now. And he's going to be throwing his shift around a lot more, which, by the way, when you shoot a Hulk shield, you're giving him ult charge. Because it converts damage to ult charge. So, I think Hulk might be back, but it's hard to say. So.
I like Hulk buffs. I don't know what it'll mean as far as meta or whatever, but like Hulk is a high skill hero, I feel. So I like seeing characters like that get rewarded. So possibly good. We'll see.
Magneto. They're increasing the energy cost for his ultimate from 3,100 to 3,400. I'm I'm not sure how I feel about this one because Magneto ult was such a big counter to support ults. Now we're getting it less, so I'm not happy. But Magneto has also been a dominant tank for a while now, so
Yeah.
so
Net W.
so that's yeah. Penny Parker.
Yes, my girl, my girl.
Her primary fire now can crit, and she reduces her movement speed from 40% to 20%. So she can move faster now while she's shooting. She still slows down, but it's not near as bad when she's firing her primary. And they gave her an extra 100 health.
The way they phrased it is weird. It says it has a chance to crit. So I don't know if that means like it's just random or if it can headshot.
I think there's translation errors
probably
all over these patch notes because there's a lot of things I can point out in the patch notes that sound funny. Yeah.
If she can headshot and like has less movement speed penalty for firing and like, I like yes, give me my penny buffs. I'm already a menace. Let me at him. Let me at him.
Thing, his leap that changes from 30% DR to 25% DR. How about it? He's Thing's really good. He's really good.
Yeah,
he's pretty good.
He's a really good tank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
30% DR. Anytime you start introducing percentages into things, it can get really scary, like really fast. So I think walking back a percentage-based ability is good, personally. Yeah.
And people might not think 5% is a lot, but in the long run, it really is. So
yeah. Well, and you think about, like I said, percentage-based. So like if you get like a massive amount of burst damage and you have DR, that's a lot less damage you're taking compared to So it's this is good. This reins that in a little bit. So.
Thor, this seems like a buff, but it's not.
It's a buff. I think it's a buff.
It's not a buff. Nope. Increasing his base health from 525 to 600. So you have to think that he lost his team up buff.
Right.
So that's just compensating for losing the team up buff, and he actually loses 25 health.
Yeah,
well, he's got
the
movement speed.
But he gets more movement speed. Yeah. So
Dehedra, I know you're a fellow Thor enjoyer, so
I am.
your thoughts?
I'm ready to play, man. I want to see what it's like. I think it'll be fine. I think it's a buff. He has more health than
I'd like to see Thor more. He's one of my favorite tanks to play too. But.
I think people underestimate how much movement speed actually really matters. Like as someone who plays a lot of Mantis, I really felt the nerf with her movement speed. Like it's very noticeable. It's like Thor being able to move faster. Like, yes, please, I can close gaps and get to cover where Hela just can't like shoot me like 3 times in the head and I explode.
Yeah.
Like,
nice. All right, Black Widow added a new effect where Black Widow can directly shoot after releasing the second kick of Edge Dancer or after using her Electroplasma Explosion. This is going to make diving Black Widow very scary.
Yes.
Because now she can kill you super fast. And there's not going to be that delay between her stun and her shot where you might be able to get away. She's just going to shoot you in the face. So
shot.
And she doesn't have to charge up the shot like Widowmaker does. She just immediately fires in your mouth.
I will say I'm actually kind of okay with this though, because like it's a skill-based ability that she has to like time and hit, and then hitting the shot at close range is not super easy, really. And so I don't mind this. I think that they did pretty well, in my opinion, with like the sniper characters in this game not feeling crazy oppressive. Like I would way rather play against a good Black Widow in this game than a good Widowmaker in Overwatch. For those who know.
What I am scared about in terms of Black Widow is that she's gotten these buffs. She's gotten buffed every single patch that they have had character buffs, and I'm just worried about the point where the power creep comes in, and now Black Widow is meta, right? Because she's gotten a big buff, and they've done everything to her besides changing numbers because they understand how bad changing the breakpoint would be.
Yeah.
But like, oh my god, she's getting scary, man. And now she can even like really mess up tanks too. Imagine you're playing a tank and you come in and you jump on her and she just quickly ults the ground, applies her slow and damage reduction to you, kicks you in the face, shoots you in the face. You're already half dead as a tank and stunned and slowed, and now everybody's just gonna
yeah.
Is this where we're gonna get
we'll see.
We're gonna get the meta of Black Widows running around quick scoping people, old Call of Duty lobbies.
Again, I wouldn't actually mind that because that's not easy to do. Like, and you can hear her clomping heels from like 50 yards away. So
there's already whispers on the internet through a couple lesser known streamers that are it's already starting the complaints about Black Widow being too strong as of season 1.5. They're like, she's just underestimated. She's really good, and that might be a thing. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not good at the game. Not good enough at the game.
Yeah.
To say this, I just
It's hard to tell because there's not that many Widow players, I feel like, compared to certain other characters, right? Yeah. So, like, part of that isn't necessarily that Widow's bad. It's just that Hela exists, which I'm sure we'll get to. So,
yeah. You mean, yeah. So, Hawkeye.
Yay!
Yeah. No, they're reducing the slow effect while he's charging the bow from 30% to 20%. So now he zooms around while he's aiming his arrows. Yay! They're increasing both instances of damage from hypersonic arrow from 50 to 55. Yay! And they're decreasing the energy cost for Hunter side ability by a lot, by 600 from 3,700 to 3,100, and increasing his bow draw speed from 1.35 to 1.5. Hawkeye got the mega buff.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're eating good, Vance.
Yep. Hi. So I saw an Aboger stream earlier, right? I didn't know this, but when you pop alt there and you shoot at someone, there is a ghost in their hitbox before they move, right? So even standing still against Hawkeye's thing, so you can kill a 1 or 250 character now by hitting them with your E after you pop alt, and they don't have to move because you do the 55 damage plus 55 twice, right? So you do the I can't math, like the 220 damage just from doing that. So they pretty much just die, right? Yeah, and that's like not including if you crit them and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's nasty.
I'm happy for you, Vance, but yeah, he'll probably become. I mean, we'll see how it actually feels, but he'll probably be one of my perma bans.
I'm so thrilled for Hawkeye. I cannot wait.
Have fun. Enjoy getting permaban now that bans are in gold and above.
Well, that's fine.
All right. Hela.
Small sacrifices.
Hela. They're increasing the cooldown from Astral Flock, her getaway button, from 12 seconds to 15 seconds. Big nerf to her, honestly. That's 3 seconds of vulnerability, which is huge when you're fighting a Hela, right?
Yeah.
But they're increasing the spell field damage of Piercing Knight from 30 to 35. I really don't care for that. Or care about this one at all because that ability is so hard to hit anyways. It's the one where she shoots a bunch of thorns. Does a lot of damage now if they hit you, but like it's just so inconsequential compared to her primary fire that
I remember she shoots out how many, like 5 or 6, so that's like really an extra like 30 damage if you hit several of them or all of them. So yeah.
And it's good for bursting down shields, I guess. I mean, that one doesn't bother me as much. I'd rather see like a nerf to her primary fire with an increase to that, but like whatever. They're not going to do that. And they're increasing the cooldown from her stun from 12 seconds to 10 seconds. That I absolutely hate.
Yeah. More stuns in the game is not super fun, but I don't know. We'll see how it feels. I feel like, I don't know. Hela was very strong, I feel. So I don't know that. I don't know. I mean,
I've realized
nerf question mark. I'm not sure.
I mean, I already think she's the strongest character in the game. I think they've just made her a little bit better here. Easier to kill with flankers now for sure.
Yeah.
But I think I've realized what my problem with Hela is that while she's firing her primary, is she doesn't have a slowdown effect like a lot of characters do, right? She suffers no movement speed penalty for her hit scan abilities that can 2-tap. You can't even say that for any other hit scan in the game or any other 1-tap in the game, right? Even a damage boosted Black Widow has a movement speed penalty. Even Hawkeye has a movement speed penalty, right? A lot of other people that fire have a movement speed penalty. Just Hela has no movement speed penalty, and you could just AD strafe you and delete you with 2 shots from across the map. So yay!
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I definitely feel like, I'm not excited to see a bunch more Hela. But again, if it's that broken, just ban it. So we'll see. Yeah.
And I will. All right. The Human Torch. They're reducing the interval for Fire Cluster, which is his primary fire, from 0.6 seconds to 0.5 seconds. The launch timing of the primary projectile attack has been advanced. Thank God, because like his primary fire feels so laggy as someone that puts in a lot of hours on Human Torch. It's just like I'm getting better at hitting it, but it's still just weird. It's just weird. And they increased the cooldown for Flaming Meteor, which is a stomp, from 12 seconds to 15 seconds, which kind of sucks. But they added a 75 bonus health when you use that starts to fall off 3 seconds later at a rate 30 per second. That's huge. Yeah. Huge boss for the Human Torch, because that ability got me killed more often than I got killed.
Yeah. He needed that, I think. It incentivizes him to actually be proactive and go in and make a play, whereas before he was just like a worse Iron Man that just like sat from the back and shot shotguns from like a million light years away. So good change. I feel this makes it possible to dive in with combos, and it's a high risk play, but you'll get rewarded for it possibly.
And he does a lot of damage with this primary fire too, because like you said, shotguns do a lot of damage. So if you can hit those easier, Human Torch might be scary. Yeah.
If you're up close now, which you could possibly be if you go in on somebody that's like half HP instead of like right when they're low HP. Yeah, it's we'll see. We'll see how the really good Torch players do with them. All right.
I love it because of how much time I've been putting on the Human Torch. He's one of my mains now. Iron Man. They're slightly reducing his hitbox size. Probably a good change. Iron Man dies so easy. He just does. He just like flies to the point to die. And he's when he pops E, he gains an extra 100 health now, which is huge. This change allows for Iron Man to be more aggressive. The only thing I don't like about this change is it incentivizes him again to just keep spamming his right click. Like, Iron Man don't use his primary fire often, and they still don't use his E, like the missiles. Like, that ability is useless, regardless of what form you're in. And, like, Iron Man is right click simulator, which I hate to see, but, like, I like the buffs overall. I just hate that it still incentivizes him to just right click simulate. But,
maybe. Yeah. I think they would probably just need to reduce. They did need to reduce the range very slightly on the right click, honestly, because like it's just a little bit like you can almost be as effective with the right click as with your like the range on it is a lot further than you realize until you start playing Iron Man more. I think maybe just slightly nerf the range to it, and then like it's pretty, I don't know, maybe something to compensate for that, but then it like makes it more defined for like when to use each one. So we'll
I agree. I agree with that.
I play a ton of Iron Man. I'm not a DPS player mostly, but when I do, I play Iron Man. So,
okay. Iron Fist is already a complicated character, so I don't know how much I'll be able to read into this. But reduce bonus health gain from his E from 150 to 100, but slow the fall off rate to 15 per second from 25 per second. So that gives him, I guess, more time to pop E and be aggressive with more health. Yeah. They lowered the fixed damage of his punches when he goes into super punch mode from 10 to 9, but increase its max HP damage from 1.7 to 2.1. So he's now more of a tank shredder. And they decreased his cooldown from 12 seconds to 10 seconds, which is the real huge one, because that's his movement. That's one of his movement abilities. He hardly ever uses it to kill. He uses it to get away, and he's going to be able to do that more often. So Iron Fist players are eating all right, I think. But.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the idea of like more tank melter characters in the game. On the flip side, maybe it's needed now that the Thing is in the game because of how he works, and like we're seeing a decent amount of like triple tank compositions being viable, and that's kind of obnoxious and a little bit boring to play against, even though it's fun to play. So I don't know. We'll see. Again, we'll see. There's fortunately not that many really good Iron Fist players, but we'll see. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Fantastic. First thing they did, thank God they're buffing this man. They increased his base health from 350 to 375. So that's pretty big. Increased the bonus damage of his primary fire from 60 to 65 in normal form and 75 to 80 while inflated state. So you got to think of that as he's doing more damage, but he's also getting significantly more ult charge from using those because he's hitting more than one person usually when he does that. So you're getting quite a bit more ult charge every time you land successful AoE attacks. Flexible elongation, which is his E, where he air humps someone. Enemies now within range of that suffer a 35% slow. And I'm not sure for how long, but that's huge. It's giving him way more utility. And they also reduced its cooldown from 10 seconds to 8 seconds.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, that's big. So, like, yeah. And to make up for all that, they're changing how he builds up his elastic strength, which allows him to inflate. Using each ability now only gives you 20 from 30, but your punches give you 8 now. So you're more incentivized to punch a small guy and use your abilities than you are just to spam abilities to get to inflated state faster. And the bonus health you get has been reduced to 400 when you inflate from 450, right? But that's okay because they gave you 25 more in base state. And the new feature, when he uses his ultimate, he immediately gains bonus health equal to that gained while entering inflated state, which honestly, I love Mr. Fantastic and I'm playing him, but I will also admit he's a relatively easy character to play. And because he doesn't require a lot of aim and stuff like that, I think he's one of the characters you have to be careful about buffing to this extent because of how easily he could run out of control, like a Scarlet Witch. So as much as I'm happy about this buff, I'm also worried about these buffs. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't play against a lot of Mr. Fantastic, so I don't know really how this will feel to play against, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think the only buff he really needed was the last one, the bonus health added to his ultimate. And the 8 seconds. I think they should get rid of the slow. Keep the boop. Because remember, it also boops. The E also boops now, too.
Yeah.
It boops and slows. I think all they needed to do was drop that cooldown back down to 8 seconds and give him the ultimate buff. That's really all they needed to do. I think they overcorrected here, which I'm fine with because I'm a Mr. Fantastic one trick. Well, I can't even say that, but like
not anymore
because I play a lot. Yeah, because I play a lot of Mr. Fantastic, but like we'll see. Moon Knight. They're increasing Crescent Dart, which is primary, from 120 meters per second to 150 meters per second. That's a lot, so he's going to be able to throw those a lot faster, so he's going to be doing more damage just based on that. New Moonblade effect that every enemy the Moonblade hits up to a maximum of 1, he gets 25 HP per enemy hit with Moonblade up to a max of 100 HP. So he's going to be running around at 350 HP a lot, because remember, that's on like a 7-second cooldown?
Yeah. This is right click, right?
Yeah, that's his right click.
Okay.
And they're going to speed up his hook they're going to adjust the hook startup time from 0.5 seconds to 1.15 seconds, so that's huge. They're going to extend the duration of his ult by 1 second, increase the number of talons generated from 14 to 18. The fall speed has been slightly enhanced, and there's a damage fall-off mechanic that they're changing. This one's really hard to interpret, but from what I saw was the AoE is bigger, talons fall faster, and it does more damage toward the middle than it does to the end. So, I'm fine with it, because it doesn't kill as fast as it used to still.
Yeah.
I think this is a huge nerf to... My dogs are losing their mind right now. This is a huge nerf to Moon Knight, because the amount of times that you would just drop the Hand of Khonshu and just kill anybody regardless like where they were in the circle to now like you have to land it on top of them, and it gives people enough time to get out of it. This is a nerf.
He's gonna be a lot scarier to dive though, because he's gonna have that extra 100 HP. He's gonna be attacking a lot faster, which means he's doing more damage. And his ability, his primaries are gonna be easier to hit now. I think I'm not sure how this is gonna affect Moon Knight, but he might be back, or he won't. At least he won't be as bad as he was this last 0.5 season.
I think he'll play well against like triple tank and triple support still, which is kind of like what he's done, because he just like farms clumped up targets. So like I see him as probably still pretty niche, like I don't think he'll be meta as my prediction. I'm not a high level player, so I don't really know what the meta will be, but if I were to guess, I would say like makes him less situational, but like still pretty much like a niche character, not hard meta. Like you can't pick Moon Knight in every scenario like you can like Hela or Star-Lord or Psylocke, or something. Yeah.
But if you want to, all these will help you play better. Like So Scarlet Witch, they're removing Chaos Control's percentage damage while increasing its fixed damage from 60 to 80 per second, so it no longer does damage based on how much health you have, your max health, but just increases your damage to 80 per second, so she's much weaker against tank, but better against squishies with her primary fire. Her secondary fire's damage has been increased from 35 to 40. And the spell field has been increased from 35 to 40. So she's much scarier against squishy targets now. And they increase the cooldown, and I love seeing this. They increase the cooldown of Mystic Projection from 8 seconds to 10 seconds. and reduce the phase time where she's invulnerable from 2 seconds to 1.5 seconds. I love that. Personally. And they reworked the slow effect of reality erasures to start at 1.5 seconds instead of starting immediately with a linear increase to 35% slow over 3.5 seconds, which means now she just has an initial boost of speed when she first pops her ult, which will make her a little bit harder to kill every time she pops her ult, right?
Probably. We'll see.
Probably. I mean, still probably not a good ult. But.
Yeah, they didn't decrease the total time that it takes to proc, so I feel like there's still plenty of time to respond to it.
Yep.
But I know I'm an invisible one player. I just boop her away every time she does it.
And
like, no, get away from me.
I just try to interrupt her on anybody I'm playing, just to stun her out of it. We're lowering Bucky's Winter Soldier. They're increasing the cooldown from Bionic for Bionic Hook. Oh yeah, Star-Lord. Fuck Winter Soldier. We're going back to Star-Lord. They reduced blaster barrage damage from 80 per second to 75. Huge win. And introduced a new fall-off mechanic starting at 4 meters and maxing out at 80% reduction at 8 meters. This is huge because a lot of his ult charge and his kills came from just shifting into the backline and hitting E. Right, so this is big. So now he has more emphasis on his gunplay than just using his ability. Yeah.
I like that. It's the most brainless part of his kit. So I'd feel like, nerf things that are like just skillless and like have him still have good things in his skill-based parts of his kit. Yeah.
Notable still has an incredibly scary ultimate that will team wipe. So, yeah. Winter Soldier. They're increasing the cooldown for Bionic Hook from 8 seconds to 12 seconds. Thank God.
Yeah,
because the man couldn't just hold. What I hate about that hook is the fact that always because he's allowed to hold it in a third-person game, so he's allowed to charge it around corners.
Yeah,
and just like pop around the corner and hook someone. I've always hated that.
Yeah.
And then a pretty big nerf to his ultimate too. They reduced the base damage from 100 to 80 and lowered the calling threshold from 20% to 15% maximum health. So huge nerf to Bucky's ult. Not the one I kind of wanted. Really, I wanted to see the timing in between again's cut in half, personally. But this is still big. It's still big.
Right? Yeah.
It's still
I
big.
agree. I like these changes. I think it's the right direction. I wish they would add a more obvious and like louder audio cue for when he's charging his hook. I think that would be like a kind of perfect nerf. And then I don't think you need to do as much with the cooldown like duration, honestly. Like I never had a problem with like, the amount of times that I had to deal with the hook. I have a problem personally as a tank player with like, I never know when he's just going to like jiggle peek out of nowhere and like yoink me from a million miles away. Like,
tank players are rejoicing.
Yeah. Like even support players, like I get yoinked from the back line as Invisible Woman sometimes, which I know is a little bit of skill issue on my part, but I feel like you just like, there's so much going on that you have to keep track of. And like, I feel like a better audio cue would make it a little bit more obvious that like, hey, like, or maybe an audio cue that gets louder the longer like he's charging it. So that way, like when it's max charge, okay, like it's more like you don't feel like you get yoinked from like a million light years away with nothing that you can do to prepare for it. Like I think that might be a good way to take him. But we'll see. Nerf Bucky, me happy.
I'm happy for any nerfs at all because nerfs. And this is something people don't want to talk about as much, but nerfs have a psychological impact on the player base. If you see your character gets nerfed, even if it's an insignificant nerf, you're less likely to play the character just because it got nerfed. So when that happens to Bucky Barnes, I'm happy because that means I will see less Bucky Barnes until people realize he's still broken.
I think this just takes him from broken to like still very good and like solid, which is a good change, really. Like he's W.
All right. So Wolverine. This one I'm not sure how it's gonna affect. They're redistributing his rage acquisition. They're increasing his range from his primary from 7 to 10, and rage gain from Berserk Claw Strike, which I think is his X slash, has been decreased from 7 to 5. And they're reducing the rage gain from Feral Leap from 20 to 10. And Vicious Barrage from 20 to 15. So I think overall they slowed down his rage acquisition while putting more of it. More expectation to hit some primary fires in there, and from taking damage too, right? So his rage has been they redistribute it from just gaining a bunch of rage from using abilities to rage for taking damage and using his primary, which I'm okay with, because that changes the way he's played a little bit. And they nerfed his ult just a little bit, where they reduce the time an enemy is knocked down after an impact from his ultimate from 1 second to 0.75 seconds. That doesn't seem like a lot, but it may give someone enough time to, throw down an ult or something before someone dies from that. So
yeah. So it doesn't change much. Like I'll still, if I'm playing tank, ban Wolverine. Actually, maybe not now that Penny's a lot stronger, because I kind of just poop on Wolverine as a Penny player. But I don't know. I feel like still he's kind of in the permaban tier. Like he just shapes the game so much when he's in it, So
I think it seems like they're also like shifting power into more mobile tanks too. So I don't think Wolverine's going to be as big of a problem next season. But like definitely against like Doctor Stranges and Groots and these things that stand still, like he's a lot scarier than like Captain America. When I play Captain America, I don't care that a Wolverine just like kidnapped me.
I don't know. I still kind of have issues. Maybe this is a skill issue as well. But like I don't know. I feel like it's any character like that just like hard like targets your role specifically and makes it a lot harder for you to carry the game as like a tank player.
Another thing I thought about is like Emma Frost is going to be amazing against Wolverine. Because think about this. He comes and he tries to kidnap you. You hit shift. You're immovable. And then you grab him by the throat, slam him, and kick him into your team.
Yeah.
It's like, bye. Go Wolverine.
Honestly true. Yeah.
Yeah. Bye.
Definitely will be interesting to see. Yeah, maybe won't be permaban anymore as people are figuring out more how to play around him. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell. He's I think the bigger thing is that he's annoying to deal with. Then like, is he actually like that strong that deserves the permaban? Maybe not, but it's like psychologically like infuriating to play against a Wolverine as a tank player.
Yeah. Well, and it's the same thing with Spider-Man too. Is Spider-Man that great? No. Am I tired of seeing him every quick play game? Yes.
Yeah.
Which might explain why he's the number one banned character in Diamond and GM. It's because people are just tired of it. They're like, I get it that he's fun to play. I play a lot of Spider-Man. I played a lot of Spider-Man. It's just I'm tired of seeing him at this point. Okay. Strategist, Adam Warlock. They're increasing the cooldown from Soulbond from 30 seconds to 40 seconds. That's a crazy nerf. Probably deserved because of how strong Soulbond is. Soulbond is an ultimate level ability that's on a cooldown. So like I understand the nerf, but also in some fights you charge your ultimate in 40 seconds. So some people are getting their ultimates faster than Adam Warlock is using Soulbond. So and Karmic Revival, big buff to his ult, now restores 30% of your max HP instead of a fixed 100% or 100 health. Yeah.
It's interesting though. I don't know if it's like totally a buff because squishies will now get less health, like a 250 HP here and now spawns at 75 HP instead of 100. But tanks now spawn at like a much higher like baseline HP. So it's good. I think this is one of the few times where I feel like it's definitely a buff, but like it's not like so big of a buff that I feel like the ult is just giga busted now. It's not like Mercy Res from Overwatch when that was a thing.
Yeah.
All right. So Cloak and Dagger, activating Eternal Bond. After activating Eternal Bond, the duration of the first 3 healing zones will no longer be calculated separately. Instead, they will remain active until the duration of the final healing zone ends, at which point it will be removed altogether.
Yeah.
Probably how it should have been. Doesn't change the ult at all in a meaningful way, really. Well, actually, yeah, it does, because you're going to have a bigger healing zone for longer instead of it slowly fading away, but it'll only be, let's see, because there's 0.33 seconds in between each one, so the first 3 zones realistically, the first zone realistically only lasts like a second and a half longer.
Yeah.
So
I feel like, honestly, I'm gonna be real, I didn't know that was how it worked before, where like one disappeared earlier. I just noticed when they all they're gone. so I'm like, oh, that's not how it worked already. Okay, cool. Yeah. That's how it should have worked.
Each lane lasted 6 seconds with a 0.33 pause in between lanes. So.
Yeah. I didn't know it didn't work that way. So good job. This is more intuitive, I think.
Yep. Invisible Woman, they decreased the shield value from Guardian Shield from 300 to 250. I'm okay with this because it means you have to be more strategic with your shield placement.
Honestly, I feel like good Invis players won't notice this change as much because you're already managing your shield well. It stops you from just like brainlessly putting it somewhere and forgetting about it, and not managing the resource. So I think good change. Adds for skill expression, takes away like the shield is probably the most frustrating part of for kit, while also being like something that does require the most like management and like decision making. So I think that that's good. It emphasizes the need to manage it well, but like it doesn't change anything about how strong the ability is overall. So good job.
I honestly don't think it makes that big of a difference because they didn't change how fast the shield charges back. So now it's actually charging back faster, so you can deploy it more. So
does it charge back faster? I thought it was a flat rate that charges back, not a percentage.
Yeah,
rate.
but because they reduced maximum health to the shield, it's gonna hit the maximum value faster because it's less maximum value.
I guess that's true. On the flip side, it'll deplete, more as well. So it'll be at a lower HP when you get rid of it, which makes the cooldown longer. So I think it's overall like a net,
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, and it's hard to make sense. I wish that the cooldown would only start if the shield breaks. But the way it is right now is the cooldown of when you redeploy it is based on how much health it's lost. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I wish the shield just broke and then had like a 6-second recharge time, or
Maybe.
like even start, or I don't know. It's hard to say because it is such a strong ability. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm probably wrong on that one.
No, I think it's interesting. I think if you were going to do something like that, what I would do is like instead of making it like the shield breaks and then it's on a cooldown only, that's the only time it has a cooldown. If you're going to do it that way, I think like then you have to delay the recharge time because then it's too easy to just like drop it, let it fully recharge, and then throw it back out with no cooldown. So I think maybe like you can have it like you have the option to throw it out without letting it fully recharge immediately with no cooldown, no matter how much HP it has, but it won't recharge. Like there'll be a longer delay before it starts to recharge based on how much shield HP is left. So like if you drop the shield at like 50 HP, it'll delay the recharge like by however long that cooldown would be now. So that might be the way to do it. But I feel like this change is a good first step. We'll see.
It is a first
Invis is really strong if you play it well. So
and I actually just in my head flip-flopped on that issue too. It's like I'm fine with it where it is right now. Just specifically because when you retract it now, there's a cooldown of at least 1 second to 2 seconds usually.
Yeah.
It's like that stops you from like being able to retract the shield, then like stopping an Iron Man all immediately,
Yeah.
So your placement's much more strategic. So okay, Loki. They increased his regeneration domain cooldown from 25 seconds to 30 seconds. Big win, strongest cooldown in the game. So
nice.
That's a big win. Mantis, they reduced her base health from 275 to 250. Hate that. She is now one-shottable by Spider-Man.
Yeah. But it's not that hard. It's not that hard to hit the sleep.
And other breakpoints. But no, now you don't have a chance to react. Like if there's a Venom team up on the Spider-Man, you don't have a chance to react. You can't hit the sleep fast enough to react to that. Because it's instant. It's instant damage if he puts the keybinds in correctly. So you just can't. Yeah.
You have to react faster, I would say. Like you can still do it. Like you just have to notice before he's already leaping towards you. Like as soon as you get webbed, you gotta like turn around and see where he's at. Yeah.
And the effects of the healing flower and allied inspiration can be stacked up to a maximum of 16 seconds.
That's cool. Actually.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that too, because let's say you just give 4 flowers. So all 4 of your flowers of the Spider-Man as he's flying into the background. Now he has 16 seconds of healing and 16 seconds of damage buff, and now he's just fucking around in the back line. I hate that. Like,
yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
All right.
I like
two,
it.
any
I can throw 2 damage boosts on my Widowmaker, Black Widow, and now she can just one shot for 16 seconds. So we'll see. Yeah.
I have no thoughts.
Any more thoughts? Okay. All right, let's talk about the team ups real quick. New team up for Doctor Strange. As a team up anchor, he gains an extra 100 health. We've already talked about that. And Scarlet Witch gets a new ability that allows her to shoot projectiles that do a lot of damage. It's like a machine gun. It's crazy. It's on like a 30-second cooldown. All right. Stars Align, Captain America and the Winter Soldier get a new team up. I hate this. As a team up anchor, Captain America gets 100 health and 5% boost and damage. I love that, but they also give the Winter Soldier a dive ability to his teammates. So the Winter Soldier is now more mobile. So I don't like that. Also, I do like this team up though, because there is a the Captain America can also jump to the Winter Soldier after the Winter Soldier jumps, and they clang together and do a little bit of AoE damage, like the shield and the metal arm punch each other, and it's like
cool.
it's like iconic in that way, and it's cool. But like I said, I don't like giving the Winter Soldier anything like that. So
yeah.
Mental projection. Emma Frost has a team up with Psylocke and Magneto. They form a shadow clone jutsu. And the clones do primary attacks and your other abilities that you use at the same time you do. So the enemy has a hard time recognizing which one is real and which one's the clone. And also you're doing more damage with the clone. So yay!
Yeah.
Psylocke again, yay!
Yay!
Winter Soldier has been removed from Ammo Overlord. Namor has been removed from Chilling Charisma. Psylocke has been removed from Psionic Disc. Namor now has a Gamma Squid that shoots a beam that shoots forever away.
Great.
Wait, does it? Is that what it does?
It's a
Oh boy.
sniper laser.
Yeah, it's like a laser that shoots.
Than the slow. I'd rather that than the slow, though.
You say that, but it does a lot of damage at 40 meters.
Yeah, well, Hulk has already banned a lot anyway,
yeah.
so what's the difference?
But at least Namor doesn't have a squid that slows flankers. I guess that's why they really changed it. So
yeah, the slow feels worse, even if it's the same strength of an ability. Yeah.
Scarlet Witch, Magneto, gone. They lost their team up ability, and Voltaic Union is gone as well.
Rip.
Sad. Yeah,
Right.
I'm sad about that one. I mean, get rid of Storm, but leave the Thor Captain one, man. Come on. We're just about to get a Captain Man. Come on. Come on. We'll see.
All right. And I talked about it previously, but I was looking at some of the top picks for both comp and quick play, and I just thought it was funny that Spider-Man is the most picked DPS in quick play. Just, which is like, if you play
Not
quick play,
surprising.
you know that.
Yeah.
The Thing is the most picked tank in quick play, with Invisible Woman being the most picked strategist. Makes sense, right?
Interesting.
And that's across all ranks. In competitive, and when we're looking at all ranks, Cloak and Dagger still remains the highest picked character.
Not surprised.
Probably because, not surprised. Doctor Strange and Invisible Woman also picked very highly. Magneto, Luna Snow also picked really high. Winter Soldier is by far the most picked DPS. Yeah. Which everybody has their thoughts on that. So
We all know how you feel, Conrad.
Yep. Fuck the Winter Soldier. He's a Nazi.
Jesus Christ.
We forgot to talk about Rocket Raccoon.
It's
I
fine.
just realized that. Yeah,
We can
he
leave
got
him.
well, he got pretty significant changes. But yeah, just real quickly, he got. It's hard to tell if it's a buff or nerf. His repair spheres, instead of doing 70 health a second, do 50 health a second. But the first time they hit an ally, they do a burst healing of 55, but they move faster too. They used to slow down when they pass an ally to 4.5 meters per second. Now that's 7 meters per second. So he has more incentivized to hit direct shots when he heals. His jetpack has been reduced from 10 meters to 8 meters, which is a huge nerf, and he's gotten 10 seconds on his cooldown per jetpack too. So Rocket Raccoon is not nearly as slippery. But they made his ultimate ability, instead of going from 40% damage buff, it goes 25%, but it does like an AoE healing now, where it gives you 150 shield that restores at 100 per second. Right, so it's another big AoE healing ult, so I don't really like that.
Yeah, it's actually a support ultimate now instead of a utility damage ultimate. So I don't know.
I just want to see more variability, and there is. I'm not saying there isn't. There every support ult I feel like is different. Don't get me wrong, but it's almost always big circle AoE plus another effect. I don't want to see the big circle healing. I want some unique support ults. Don't just.
It's tricky though, because like I said, if you're going to do that, then there's also a lot of big AoE damage nonsense in the game. So it's like, what do you do about that, right? Like,
I agree. Yeah.
It's not an easy problem to solve.
Yeah, well, they have to introduce characters that can do stuff, and I think Emma Frost is a big step in that direction, where they have characters that can interact with that. And I also need to see an anti-heal ability in the game, for the love of Christ. So
no, I'm gonna hard disagree on that one. Tank players will suffer. As someone who enjoys tank, like please don't hate me that much.
What do you guys think about the patch notes? They're pretty big, extensive patch notes.
Yeah, new season.
Yeah, a lot of big changes. Hopefully, I think Rocket's gonna be pretty strong next season. I hate what they did to Mantis.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. I love that they buffed Mr. Fantastic and the Human Torch. I'm eating good next season.
Yeah, good too.
The Hawkeye buffs. I'm loving life.
Yep. I'm happy too. I mean, for my hero pool, they didn't really change Invis too much. They changed her in a way that I feel like is healthy. And then for Penny Parker, my mostly like Penny and Thor, my mostly played tank characters got good changes in my opinion too. So yeah, I'm eating good too.
All right. The last topic is something Florida Man wanted to talk to. There was a pretty in-depth conversation in our Discord today about EOMM. We've already spoken several times on EOMM, but would you like to bring up the points you wanted to, Florida Man?
Yeah, basically, the conversation kind of focused around, and I wanted to actually pull it up on the Discord. I didn't realize we were going to have that topic still. I thought the patch notes were last. My bad. But basically, one of our members, whose name I'll put up in just a second, Valiant Blue. Valiant Blue kind of brought up a lot of really interesting discussion about the EOMM, and essentially kind of talked about what the system really means. Which again, we've touched on it before. But the big key points to take away when we were reading the conversation is that the nice thing about EOMM is that don't put your tinfoil hat on too much when it comes to competitive, because in general, remember that what drives engagement the most is really people feeling like the matches are fair. So it is the incentive to drive engagement is to have a fair matchmaker, because if the games are unfair, or if the games feel unfair, not necessarily if they are unfair, but if they feel unfair, then that's when players quit and give up on the game and go play something else. That's the higher churn rate. And that's essentially the long and the short of what was said, is that in the end, that is the incentive. And is there a perception of I quit the game and then I come back and I have easier matches? Yes, that's probably not actually because of the matchmaker, though. That's because you took a break and you had an actual mental reset and came back refreshed. And so that's a little bit of placebo effect. That's happening in that scenario. So there's a lot more that goes into it, which Conrad you might want to speak to, or DeHeater and Vance as well. But that's the TLDR version, which we've talked about that before and essentially said similar things. It's yes, there might be EOMM, but what that really means is not that, your rank is a lie and all this stuff, and the devs just reward you for buying skins and stuff. No, that's not really how it works. Possibly in quick play, there's a little bit more weirdness with that. In competitive, though, no.
Yeah. I agree. Is EOMM real in the ways that the player base is taking it? Probably not. The game's not forcing you on loss streaks because they know you're a tilter and will keep queuing you up. It's not forcing you on win streaks because they know that you just don't play that much anyways. It's just trying to make matches as fair as can be. That's the whole purpose of it, is create engagement via fun and about a 50% win rate. And really, it would be so hard to make a matchmaker that forced you on the loss streaks if you think about it, because you cannot really account for mathematically consistency, right? You just can't. You never know how you're going to perform. Even if the system is against you, you could be on fire that day and just still winning, right? So I think you guys think that these developers are much more geniuses than they are. There is no system that's going to be able to perfectly throw you on a loss streak whenever they want, because you cannot account for consistency over and over. The only thing that can really account for consistency is a fair matchmaking system.
Yeah, right.
that places you in a rank you deserve, that's at a 50% win rate. That's the only thing that can account for consistency, right?
Yeah.
Anybody else on EOMM?
I got nothing.
Remember, if you buy more skins, you have a higher win rate.
That's true.
So
buy me more skins. Everyone, gift me
more skins. Yes. All right. The last thing I want to end on this with, because I know DeHeater work is tired and is about to cook dinner because he's like a chef man. He's already in trouble.
I'm also already in trouble.
Yep. I want to just hopes for season 2. What do you want to see? What do you want? Go DeHeater work.
I want to see Emma Frost be meta, and I'm probably just gonna lock her the entire time. So back to my tank arc.
Yes.
I'm also going on a Vanguard arc because I want mommy to crush me. So I will be thoroughly enjoying playing Emma Frost.
Yes, Florida man.
Ooh, I don't know. I'm excited for some of the changes that they are making to competitive and for the gifting system because a lot of my friends, I have a somewhat good income, and every now and then my friends are like, "Oh man, I want the skin, but I can't afford it or whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, it'd be nice to have. It's nice for me to have a way to give them a skin without
giving them
having
credit
to
card information."
Literally, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat. I'm excited for that system. I think it's a W. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited mostly as I just felt like a lot of people do at the end of a season. The game has been a little bit bland. I've been reaching out to other games. These patch notes are huge. The news they release is huge. I hope I'm wrong about the things I'm pessimistic about. And I hope the season just pops off. I'm really looking forward to Emma Frost. I'm really looking forward to seeing my heroes buffed. I'm just ready to have some fun.
Yeah.
Agree.
All right. Hey, everybody, remember, if you have any questions, you can join our Discord, links below, or you can send us an email at themarvelrivalsreview@gmail.com. Join our Discord. We got a bunch of cool people there. We share funnies. Yes. We talk. We try to do games every other week when we're not doing a podcast. So next Saturday, we'd like to do some games if you are around. We have a few people show up every week. We'd like to get to the point where we can do full-on scrims.
Yes.
Yeah. Please subscribe, all that jazz, and everybody plug yourselves.
All right. Dahito work at Twitch TV now.
Ooh.
Vance Helsing Gaming at YouTube, and also the Marvel Rivals Review Twitch.
Yeah. Floridaman MD on all my socials, which is pretty much just Discord and right here.
Yes. And I am Conrad Gunther. You can always catch me mad at video games at my Twitch channel /Conrad Gunther. And please subscribe, leave comments. We love reading those. Leave reviews, dude. Say something spicy. I don't care.
Bring a controversial take.
Yes.
Let's hear
all right, everybody. Peace out.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.